Hello? Hello?
I'm here. How you doing today, Mr. Vincent Brunel? Long time.
I'm good. How are you? I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm doing.
So we reconnected in the queue. We met through Claire Call. Oh no, it's echoing. You know, it said it was gonna echo. Shit. Oh, I guess when I'm talking, you have to be muted. Um, we met through Claire Call, and then we met again in the queue, which is this new group started by Lewis Wayne and Jord, uh, who's a YouTuber and stuff like that. So, when did you get involved in the queue?
Well, hold on for a brief second. Hold on for a brief second. Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I got involved with Cube really early on in the Cube's development. Um, as a matter of fact, I actually did the first Cube special. It was actually an argument with me and a guy. I don't know if you met Lucky, but we had a talk. It was me versus him, and if you go look at the cubes, the first cube project was called was part of a channel called Ultimate Autism Challenge, and we were on it together. If you have a computer, you could go on YouTube and just put Mr. Pelu versus Lucky, and that was our first cube project. Matter of fact, I kicked off cube with an argument. We actually had an argument on Telegram, and then they decided Jordan and Lewis decided to record it, and that's how cube even kicked off. Was the argument between me and Lucky, but the way I met Lewis, I actually met Lewis on another streaming platform called G Block. I don't know if you've ever been on G Block. With Claire's been on it before. It's hosted by a guy named Veli. He's a British guy named Veli, and I used to frequent a G Block. I still do sometimes. I was there earlier. I was there. I came on yesterday for a cameo, but I didn't really do nothing. But I'm not as active on that platform as I used to be. But I still dropping by. But that's where I met Lewis at. So he came on one time, and then he told me, oh, he wanted to keep in contact with me, and that's when he got my Telegram and he put me in his group. He had told me he wanted to keep in contact with me, and that's how it started. But I did the first Q project, me and Lucky. The first it was called Ultimate Autism Challenge before it was even called a Q. When it was just Lewis Wayne is group. It was just called Lewis Wayne Soapbox, something like that, or soap shop or something, or Soap Factory. No, Lewis Wayne Soap Factory. That's what it was called. Before it was even the Cube.
Yeah. Just put yourself on mute. So just put yourself on mute. Yeah, Lewis found me through Claire Call on being on her channel, and then just put yourself on mute so I don't echo.
You
You
need no, I switched to my earpiece, so it shouldn't echo. I switched to my earpiece.
wait, hello? It's echoing.
Okay, there.
Um, uh, yeah, I met Wayne through Lewis Wayne through Claire Call, and then he invited me in there because he wanted, he felt like I was a radical person in a radical different direction. I know he says he tries to get all different kinds in there because his idea is really to get people of different ideologies together to basically fight it out, right? That's what he wants, or that's what he wanted. I think it started out a lot more noble, but I think first of all, of course, this attracted a lot more right wing people than a lot of like leftists or things like that. And so, even though there are people of different ideologies in there, it's basically skewed in one direction.
I tell you, I was there when it started. I had the first argument. The first recorded argument on the cube was me and Lucky. So yeah, I understand what you're saying. That's what it was about. He wanted to get people to argue and stuff. So and he got me to argue with Lucky. That was the first argument. But he but and Claire's there. No, Claire did a special too. Claire did the second argument, I think. The second special was Claire. It was Claire and some other guy. I forgot his name. I did the first one, and Claire was the number two. She was the second one after me. After me and Lucky show, it was Claire and whoever show.
Right. Yeah. Just put yourself on mute. I I've debated Mark. I've debated. Who else did I debate? Why can't I remember who I've debated and who I haven't? Jack Star, but that's not really a debate. I can't remember everyone I debated now. Well, I was just debating them all in there last night. Um,
Was it
um,
recorded?
I think so. I got into a debate with them all last night. I got into a debate with what's his name? Oh, I already said Mark. But and I got into a debate with George, but it was about God, and we can talk about, you know, well, actually, let's talk about secular Koranism and Claire for a second because, so Claire threw you off her stream when Ralph came on because what, Ralph didn't like you?
No, no, no. I think she was just trying to be impressive and just show her white supremacist credentials. Ain't on black. No, Ralph actually liked me. Actually, me and Ralph actually we actually kept talking after that thing. It was just clear the time she kicked me off the show is because I forgot exactly what happened. But she just wanted what's name to talk. She invited me to come on, but then what's name came out of nowhere, and then she basically got like starstruck with what's name and was trying to kick me out. And I was in the middle of what I was saying, and she just it was just to impress him. It wasn't even for anything. That's why I got upset with it because nothing I did. She just wanted to be impressive and just randomly kick me out for no reason, just because just to impress her her base is white supremacist, and I was basically the antithesis of her base. You know that, right? and, and, and and we had a little issue over that. That's why I stopped coming on her show because of that. I mean, we had to record it for time to tell exactly what it is, but and I told you about it when it happened because I think you had come like the day after and be coming on the show. But anyway, this is literally like the last time we talked to each other. This is literally like uh over a year ago. It's well over a year ago. All this whole thing broke down.
Hmm.
It might have even been two
Yeah.
years. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, you know that she wrote a book, right?
Yeah, actually, Ralph told me about the book. Ralph told me about the book a couple of months ago because I was actually in another group with Mark and Ralph in a Telegram group, and Ralph told me about the book, and he said there's a bunch of errors in it. She like it wasn't well proofread. I don't think she proofread it right, but that's his comment on it. There's a bunch of errors in it, but I mean, I know she's been about this for years. You know, and when I was on her show, I was actually trying to give her a competitive ideology. I actually gave her an ideology called providential constitutionalism. Do you remember that? When I was trying to get her to adopt, when I tried to tweak her ideology away from all the absurdities and gave her the providential constitutionalism ideology. Were you there for that?
No.
Anyway, I'll probably get into that later, but I try to actually give her an actual ideology that's kind of similar to what she was trying to do, but without all the absurdities. But of course, she was stuck on her cult of being the agnostic prophetess, according to
Well,
her
I mean,
words.
the thing is, I don't see. This is what I think people are really underappreciating her. And that, okay, I read the book. I read a book called Secular by Design by Alan Cecil, and he's a Noahide. And basically, in, instead of making it godless Noahidism, basically he just said that you're not allowed to practice idolatry, but there's no command to believe in God either. There is no command to believe in God, and so that's basically her thing. It's the laws of the Quran minus God, minus superstition, minus festivals, minus rituals, minus anything like that, minus diet, and well, okay. It doesn't work as well as the Noahide laws do as a secular system, but what am I trying to say here? That it's not a bad idea and it could work. The Noahide laws, it fits better, but like this is like almost like an attempt to be the Muslim form of the Noahide laws, because under Noahide laws you can't have festivals, you can't add to scripture, you're not allowed to make up new legends and things like that. And so it's like, yeah, it's like I told her she wants secular Quranism to be a step between the West and Islam, and I'm saying it's actually a step between Islam and Noahidism. If Muslims started practicing secular Koranism, they would be closer to Noahidism than they are now because they would no longer be instituting a new religion, right?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know about that. See, look, um, even Noahidism, to my knowledge, you start to believe in God. And to be a Noahide, you have to say the laws come from God and were given to the children of Israel.
There's debate over that, though. There's debate over whether you have to believe in God. Yeah, there's debate because the thing is
You
that
sure in rabbinical circles, in true rabbinical circles? I mean actual rabbinical. Is there a debate about this in rabbinical circles or just non-rabbinical people?
okay. Here's the thing: you cannot be beheaded for not believing in God.
But it's not about being beheaded, it's about being a Noahide. Can you be a Noahide according to rabbinical authority, an official Noahide, a ger, whatever, a righteous Gentile and a Noahide? Can you be that
You're not a
while not believing in
you're
God?
not a righteous Gentile, but you are called wise among the nations, and you are not. I mean, you can live inside a Noahide community and not be persecuted, and there's just the. I mean, it's encouraged to believe in God, but you don't actually have to profess belief in God. No, in order to live in the system.
But you won't be a Noahide then. You would be what? You be what then?
A wise
Why?
among the nations instead of a
And what was the
pious.
what? Okay, so can a Muslim be called a wise amongst the nation?
If you're wise among the nation because you're following the Noahide laws, but not because the God of Israel through the Talmud has told you to do so, but because you just so happen to follow them because they are the same laws of Allah. So you're not a pious Gentile, you're a wise among the nations.
Yeah, so a Muslim could be wise amongst the nation, but it won't be a pious Gentile. The same way her secular Quran, you can't be a Noahide without believing in God. You might be a wise amongst the nation. Don't get me wrong, I'm not an expert at this terminology called wise among the nations. I'm mistaking your word for it. But yeah, okay, but it still wouldn't be a Noahidism then.
Okay, amongst Noahides, I know there's debate about this. Alan Cecil says that there is no command to believe in God, and he's very adamant about that. And on top of it, he did go to yeshiva. He's a Gentile, he's a Noahide, and he went to a proper Jewish yeshiva and learned Jewish law. And he's very well versed in it. And I would find it hard to believe that, he brings up this thing and there's nothing to it. And he has followers amongst Jews.
Yeah, but he doesn't have religious Orthodox followers.
He has, you know who Joshua Shalit is?
Who's that?
He's on Claire's. He's an Orthodox Jew in Israel.
And he goes on Claire's show.
Yeah, he goes on Claire's show.
I think I remember him, and he doesn't know what he's talking about. He does not an authority at all on Judaism. I think I know what you're talking about because he was there when I was there, and he's been there for a while, right? Josh and Israel. No, that's not. He's not. He's nowhere near somebody that you could really take as a reference for these serious issues. I would have to get rabbinical sources to say that you could be considered Noahide and not believe in God. And I never seen that. And and of course, my main reference in this issue is, and I've been following this for years. I've been following. I'm an avid watcher. Not avid, but I watch a lot and lots and lots. I mean, hours and hours and hours of Rabbi Tovia Singer, and this is his thing. He's a big on Noahidism, and I never got the impression that you could just not believe in God and be considered a Noahide still.
You won't be considered a righteous among the nations, but I mean, if you were living inside a Noahide community, you couldn't be persecuted. You couldn't be persecuted for that.
Okay, but you're not a Noahide. You just couldn't be persecuted. They just can't kill you.
Well, but wait, no. But also, I want to take this a step further. That Michael Dallin, who is a Jewish religious scholar, he's not a rabbi, but he's very well versed in the Noahide laws, and he wrote a book called The Rainbow Covenant, Michael Dallin. A Noahide government prohibits false worship, but a Noahide government is secular in that it does not promote correct worship. A Noahide government is not there to teach you religion.
Of course, but okay, that might be the case. Okay, she's not a rabbi, so I still don't consider. But even if I were to take that, it doesn't mean it still doesn't mean that you're still no high. What I'm trying to say is that okay, even if that was, even though I'm not going to use it as authority, but just for the sake of conversation, I'm going to follow that train of thought, right? Even if that's the case, I get it, because Noahides aren't rabbis. Noahides are not there to teach. The Jews are meant to be the preachers of the nation. The Noahides are supposed to take the lessons from the Jews, right? That's how Noahidism works, according to what I know from rabbinical sources. And of course, my main rabbinical source is Rabbi Tovia Singer, right? The Jews are supposed to be the teachers and priests of the world, and they're supposed to teach. The Noahides are supposed to be the congregation. So is the Noahide government supposed to do this thing? No, but a Jewish government is supposed to do all that, and a Jewish government and Jews are supposed to be with the Noahides, teaching the Noahides. So the Noahides are going to teach. So even though Noahides are not, the Noahides' job is not there to teach correct religion. I agree with that part, because that's the Jews' job, right? The Jews are supposed to be rabbis of everybody else. So I get what you're saying, but it still doesn't. It still. I mean, the only thing I can say is that from if I were to take what you said, the only thing I could say I could follow you on is that if you're supposedly agnostic or don't necessarily profess a belief in God, you still have a right to your life. That's about it. You have a right to your life and to live. He's not obligated to kill you, according to Noahidism. That might be the best I can say about it. But besides that, outside of that, any other part of Noahide life, you have to probably believe in God. Is that a right assessment? That you have a right to your life, but that's about it?
Well, okay, I do know Alan Cecil and Michael Dallin have followers, so I know inside the Noahide movement there are people that think that the Noahide movement is a 100% secular movement, and that well, actually, who's the Jew that agrees with me? Oh God, what is his name?
But no Jew, I mean, no rabbi agreed. No, look, see, you might find a random Jew, but I'm talking about rabbis. Like Rabbi Toby is never going to tell you that.
I know,
Rabbi,
but this is also what I tell people. People don't understand. The Noahides don't listen to the rabbis. The Noahides, the Jews made a mistake by handing these laws over to them, because now the Noahides interpreted them themselves, and they say things. We don't need a Sanhedrin. We don't need to believe in God. We don't need to do this.
They're wrong.
Like, okay, well, nobody's stopping them. What are the Jews going to do? Soon the Noahides will outnumber them.
Yeah, because the rabbis don't say any of this nonsense. Because look, I know somebody is stopping them. There's a guy against it, right? There's a guy, and just Google Noahide Karuv. He tries to get him out of because he warns about this kind of nonsense. His name is Yaron Reuven. It's like Aaron, but it's in Hebrew. It's like Yaron Reuven. But he the same thing you're talking about. He's adamant about getting people outside of Noahidism because of this issue. He's saying all the people should do kiruv to Judaism because there's a lot of problems with misguided Noahidism. So are you saying that in Noahidism there's a lot of misguidance? Yeah, okay, I agree with that. There I can follow you. Yes, I believe there could be a lot of misguided. I'm not part of the Noahide movement, but I easily see how it can get misguided, and I've heard reports, even your report, I believe it. And I've heard reports even before that confirmed, yes, there's misguidance. I don't know for a fact, but the reports that I'm hearing, I'm hearing that I could. It's easy for me to safely assume that a lot of Noahides are just doing what they want to do, and they're not following real Noahidism because they're not following rabbinical direction. You can't. Noahidism is not independent of Judaism. Like Judaism is like the Jews are the masters of the Noahides. And if you're being a Noahide outside of Jewish supervision, then you're not really a Noahide.
This is not how the Jews are really explaining it to them, though. I mean, it's more like you take a generation to learn the laws, and then you're basically on your own, and then you come to us when you have problems. They try not to make it sound like they're going to have a lot of oversight because they don't want to scare people away. And I do want to say that what's his name? Alan Cecil, who wrote that book, he did thank his rabbis in the book, So he didn't learn this from nowhere. He did learn it in his yeshiva. So there are rabbis. I know that there are rabbis that promote a more secular vision of Noahidism. It's not a totally bogus uh, thought
I
process.
don't know. He might be freelancing a lot. Either he might be freelancing. He might think it's rabbis, but he might still just deviate. Okay, just because you got trained by rabbi, it doesn't mean that you're following exactly rabbinical. You could be trained by it and get you certified just to say, oh, I got certified by this rabbi, but then go off and do your own thing. People do that, unfortunately, because it's clear as day in Judaism. The Jews are the nation of kings and priests. That's what the Jews say, and this comes from the rabbis. And all these rabbis I'm talking about, you Google them online. You could look on YouTube and find Rabbi Tovia Singer. He speaks about us a lot, and he's my biggest reference for Judaism, Orthodox Judaism, and Noahidism. He's my biggest reference. If anybody wants to know where I get my information about Judaism from, I get it about 85% from Rabbi Tovia Singer. That's because he's only. I don't listen to Jews that much except for him. He's the only Jew that I listen to a lot. I love his material, and he makes it clear that the Noahides are under the direction of have to be under rabbinical direction. That's their job, is to be the congregation of the Jews. So this freelancing,
But I don't really
Noahidism,
think that's the way the Talmud. Well, I mean, yeah, they're supposed to be the kings and priests, but okay, but the laws that are set up are very.
the law is more flexible.
Yes, but I think you're discounting something real there. I think you're discounting something that, okay, so yes, Jewish scholars, Michael Dallin is a scholar of the Noahide laws. I mean, he really researched that book, and maybe
It's two issues,
okay,
right?
no, okay, here's the thing. Privately, you're supposed to have religion, but it's private. It's not like public worship.
Okay, I understand that. I can see that, right? That's not where my contention is. I want you to make clear what my contention is. My contention is, can you be a Noahide and not affirm the reality of God? And I say no.
Well, first of all, everyone is a Noahide because everyone is a child of Noah. But like, okay, maybe you couldn't.
No, you're right? Technically, you're a Noahide, right? If that's what you want to call it, right? But but in the broader sense of the word, but in the specific sense of the religion, right? In the specific contents, a Noahide has to believe in God. As a matter of fact, the way Rabbi Toby explains it is this, right? This is the way Rabbi Toby explains it all the time. And I've heard him say this countless times. So it's not just one time. You can hear him say this over and over and over. This is what he beats down. This is what he beats down. He says is that Noahidism is Judaism. It is Judaism. That your faith as a Noahide is the faith of Judaism, but you're not part of the Jewish nation. You're somebody who holds the faith of Judaism without joining the physical nation Am Israel or Klat Israel. I'm sorry if I'm butchering the Hebrew, right? But your faith is the faith of Judaism, and I don't see how you can have the faith of Judaism and not affirm the reality of God.
Okay, well, but you know what? It's a slippery. It's not so black and white in that that there's rabbis, and I know this for a fact. There's rabbis. So basically, the idea is that Noahides are only supposed to really organize when they're establishing their courts, right? But the idea of making Noahide temples or Noahide places of worship, or like, I even suggested a Noahide cafe, are supposedly, according to many, many rabbis, forbidden. Like, Noahides are not supposed to like gather and learn religion.
I know that. Yeah, of course they're not. They're not supposed to make a new. They're not supposed to go make a new. I mean, they can still gather. Like, for example, Rabbi Tovia goes to Noahide meetings, right? Like, for example, it was one called Beneyu in Texas. He went there not too long ago. He goes there a lot. They have a Noahide center, and he goes and gives lectures. So I think they could go receive lectures. They can receive lectures, but they can't make another religion. Like going to receive lectures, I don't think the majority of the Noahides, I mean of what I could gather from my, of course my source is Rabbi Tovia's movement, right? They could go listen to lectures, but I understand what you're saying. Yes, they cannot just make a new religion. They can't make their own rituals, make their own other stuff. But I don't. I think certain things. But I think gathering is allowed though. I think they can just gather if they want to for education. They can go get it because look. First of all, even the people who are strongly against modern Noahidism because of the innovations that are happening, right? Like a Rabbi Yaron Reuven. He's on YouTube. You could look at him up too. But he's against. His whole thing is Noahid Keruv, right? He tries to get Noahides to become Judaism because of the issues that you're saying, right? But even he admits that when he talks about Noahidism, if you look at the Talmud, look at the rabbinical literature, Noahides are supposed to go seek instruction. They're supposed to seek instruction, especially on ethical things called the Musar. They're supposed to learn. They can learn Torah and they're supposed to learn Musar, the ethical teachings of Judaism. So can Noahides gather to get education? From my understanding, I would say yes. Now, if they're making rituals, then no. But for educational purposes, can they gather for instruction? I would have to say yes, because even like this, right? How are they supposed to be the congregation of the Jews if they can't even gather to get instruction? They're supposed to go to the Jews and get instruction. If I'm a rabbi and I'm ministering to Noahides, I could go have a Noahide class and have all the Noahides come to my synagogue and study with me. If I'm under rabbinical supervision, right? Is there a problem with that? That's what Rabbi Toby does. But he supervises them. He's their rabbi.
The thing is that, hold on. Look, Jews are not going to be in Noahide lands. They're not supposed to be in Noahide lands. They're supposed to be in Israel. And the Talmud only says that perhaps they should have oversight over the courts. And there are rabbis out there who believe that Gentiles.
You're breaking up, Vincent.
There are rabbis out there who believe that. Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you when you're talking, but sometimes you stop talking for a while, for a second.
Okay. There are rabbis out there who say that Gentiles may not read. They can only read the parts of the Talmud which pertain to them, but they may not read any of Torah. Not even some rabbis say you can only read up to Genesis, up to the flood. Some rabbis say you can read the whole Torah, but there's rabbis who say you can't read any of the Torah. I really need to go deeper, but I'm going to show you that there is an anti-spiritual rabbinical interpretation of the Noahide laws. There really is.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some of the. I mean, I don't know about anti-spiritual. I've heard some of the debates you have about reading the Torah, but Rabbi Tovia and other rabbis say that the Noahides can read it because even though they said Gentiles shouldn't have it. I mean, because yeah, there is I know there is debate about that, right? But the ones that I follow, like Rabbi Tovia, he says that the Noahides can read the Torah. He said they don't count as on the prohibitions against reading the Torah. I know there's debate about it, but I think the strongest opinion, the most valid and strong opinion is that a Noahide can't. If you're committed to following the 7 Noahide laws, you can read the Torah at that point because your faith is Judaism. You can't do it at a point. But I'm aware that there's some debate about that. I'm aware about that. That part I'm aware of.
Well, this gets to the point where, like, when Muslims say, like, oh, Muslims who interpret the Quran violently don't understand it and blah, blah. Okay, obviously the Quran is written in a way that you can interpret it in different ways. And I don't think that Muslims who interpret the Quran violently have it wrong. And obviously, if so many people are getting this wrong, there's something in the book that is incoherent.
Oh, okay. If you want to talk about Muslim, the book is totally coherent. The issue is, I'm gonna tell you the problem was, and I'm a Muslim speaking for this. The issue is that we have a lot of heresies in Islam that people are interpreting through a lens of an heretical belief structure that's supported by falsified hadiths. So they're interpreting the Quran in a totally dirty lens. So that's what the problem is. Is the Quran misinterpreted? Yes, but I could tell you the root of the misinterpretation, and it all comes down to heretical innovations. And both the Sunnis and Shias are equally guilty of this. The only people who are not guilty of this are the Ibadis, al-Haqqa al-Istiqama. If you're not an Ibadi, your Islam is not your Islam is not substantive. Now you could be excused because of ignorance, but in terms of your faith and your Islam and your practice, is not substantive if you're not Ibadi, because you're following your entire ideology and entire everything, your entire religion. If it falls outside of the scope of Islam, as defined by the Akida, by the creed of Allah, by the body creed, you're whatever you're doing at that point is just heretical innovation. So yes, we have a big heresy problem in the Islamic world in the Al-Qibla. That means the people who face Mecca to pray. The Muslim world, there is a big heresy problem, and unfortunately, it's causing problems for not just the people of Islam, the Al-Qibla, but for all humanity. This heresy is causing a problem when we're supposed to be the healing agent of humanity.
That wasn't my point. Well, okay, forget Hadith. Wait, you believe anyone who interprets the Quran violently has it totally wrong, and it's some pacifist love all book?
Okay, look, there's the Muslims, and the enemies of the Muslims are the aggressors. So yes, the aggressors are totally kafirs. Yes, they're not necessarily mushrikeen. They can still be within the Al-Qibla, right? But existence such as deviance worded the hellfire, and the hellfire is a punishment that is permanent, and unescapable, and unrelenting. Now, if you interpret it outside of Allah Istiqama, are you Alubida? Are you people of vertical innovation? Yes. The Islam is a religion of peace and love. But don't get me wrong, there's warfare in Islam. There's casus belli, there's just cause for war in Islam, and that should not be negated. But Islam has civilized rules of warfare and limitations to how warfare can be executed. And if you go beyond the pale of what the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, ordained and allowed for kinetic warfare, you have committed war crimes even against the Sharia. And these war crimes are in fact terrorism.
Look, I don't think Muslims who attacked Hindu temples are incorrectly interpreting the Quran. I don't believe that. And if they are, the Quran is too ambiguous. It's so ambiguous that even if that's not what it's saying, that's what people think it's saying. It's obviously written poorly.
No, it's not. It's written perfectly. The Quran is written absolutely perfectly. You have to understand.
Then why can't I get it? Why do people interpret this and misinterpret it so much?
Oh, because they're heretics to begin with. I told you, they have a false belief structure that's supported by false hadiths. And this has caused them to reinterpret the Quran in all types of heinous ways. That in Islam, the word for it is called tawil. It means exaggeration interpretation. Is there a lot of tawil going on with the Quran? Absolutely. But at the same time, it doesn't mean we'll allow idolatry. We're totally against idols. The idols should be smashed. I'm not saying idols should not be smashed, but there's a process to it, right? There's due process to everything. And I'm going to tell you what our process is, right? When we come to people, first we offer them Islam. Now, they can accept it or not, because we say, La ikraha fi din, there's no compulsion in religion, so they can accept it or not. But if they don't accept it, we offer them jizya, dima. This means they become clients, protected people of the Muslim states and citizens. But they have to pay a tax to the Muslims and regard themselves under a debility. They have to understand, they have to subordinate themselves to the Muslims, but they have they're able to live out their own lives with their own self-determination on matters of personal status. So they allow their self-determination and their existence as whatever cult they're part of if they agree to subordinate themselves to the Islamic State and pay the jizya. Now, if they refuse the jizya, refuse the tax, refuse the dima, the dhimmi status of the dhimmi citizenship, the dhimmi status, then we offer them the sword. Now, the sword can end in the chains or in the grave.
Yeah, this is a very dark man's way of saying that something is peace and freedom of religion. So I'm an idolater and you're a Muslim army, and for whatever your reasons are, you've invaded my nation. Whatever you want, religious war, or you want my gold, or whatever you're after, and you come to me and you say, join my religion, pay me, or die and I smash all your idols. And if I don't like, and then you say, we come in peace. Like, that's just that's dark man's thinking. Like, that's not, as a white man, I could never see that as anything good or freedom or anything like that. I could never, I'm not dumb enough to sit there and fool myself into believing that's something freedom you know.
You might look at it as freedom, but it is freedom because we had to free you from idolatry and free you from your superstitions. We had to free you from your idolatry first and foremost. Slavery to an idol is the big is total a waste of life. Like slavery, your slavery, your worship
Yeah,
is
you
something for God
actually have
alone. It's for
slaves.
God alone.
Must
No one
actually
deserves your
slave.
slavery except God who made you. No one
Yeah,
else deserves your
you
slavery,
take people
and
who
that's
are
what we're here
living
to do.
free. You take people who are living free and put them in chains, and then say we freed you from your idolatry. This is barbaric savageness. And just talking to you about this, like, I'm 10 times more angry at Muslims now, and like especially dark skinned people, because you're falling for this because this is how you think. Like, this is just barbaric illogic.
It's so illogical because look, we free, like for example, this hadith, right? And I say this a lot, right? The Prophet said, peace be upon him, said that there is people going to be blessed twice. One of them, and one of the people going to be blessed twice is this person, right? The person, the person who the person who acquires a slave woman, trains her in Islam and educates her in the best manners, then frees her, then marries her. He'll be blessed twice. The same way somebody who believed in Jesus but then believed in him, Muhammad, and became a Muslim, he'll also be blessed twice. And so, but one of the but what I said before, yes. So we acquire the slaves. We the reason why we acquire slaves is to educate you is because the slavery puts you in a condition where we have the ability to incubate and educate you in the manners of Islam and entice you to become a Muslim. Because look, as a matter of fact, to convert to Islam is one of the greatest impetuses for us manumitting you. We're here to and matter of fact, we can't enslave your children. If we enslave a Muslim and you become a Muslim, we can at that point we can't enslave your children, even you. If we see goodness in you, we see the
I mean,
improvement in you, we see the light in you. We're supposed to be inspired to manumit you as well.
oh
This is
no,
a blessing for us.
oh no. I mean, no, I don't know if you know, but I wrote this manifesto for gay militancy, and I don't want to get into that right now tonight. But the point is that, monotheism is a big problem because it stops moral relativism. But I created my own creed, and in it, you can either be a non supernaturalist or you can be a hard polytheist. And I mean, this is monotheists are barbaric, and like if I had my way, we wouldn't take Muslims as slaves and then convert you and turn you into polytheists. We would just get rid of you.
Yeah, but see, so we're in a state of okay, that's fine, and I understand you saying that. Of course, I told you this good monotheism. I think monotheism is the only way, and that's fine. You can, I mean, it's not fine, but for the sake of, I'm using fine as a figure of speech. But we could live in that condition. We'll just live in a condition of war against you. Yeah, I mean, me and you will just be in a. I mean, I'm in a condition of jihad against you. If you're articulating your sentiment correctly and I'm articulating mine, it is clear that that me and you are in a state of opposition. Yes, we're going to be in a state of opposition, and we're going to be in a state, and I'm in a natural state of holy jihad against you.
Yes, I mean, and like, I spent before I was anti-Noahide, I spent like 5 years of my life ravaged, like just like an animal attacking Islam, and then I got tired of it, to be honest. And Noahidism took me in because it's a little bit more intellectual and esoteric and intriguing and mysterious and things like that. And I'm a little bit more on that side of things. And Islam is more like in your face, blunt, like I'm gonna fucking kill you, Whereas like Noahidism is more like intrigue, conspiracy, behind the scenes, that kind of thing. So I got into it, but I mean, yeah, I mean, the thing about Islam is that obviously it's going to make people react. And I mean, what you're describing to me is just like the rambling of apes. I mean, I forgot how disgusted I am with Islam, to be honest with you.
I mean, I totally disagree with you. I think polytheism is the rambling of apes. I think homosexuality is the rambling of apes. And I think gay militancy is the rambling of apes. So I mean, I can say the same thing about you. And I'm not here to argue that point because you're gonna have your position. I'm gonna have my position, right? So
Look,
I don't think
the more
there's no need for us to
the
fight
more
about that, right?
more
Mhm.
scientific the more scientific and advanced the culture is, the more likely they are to accept homosexuals. The more backward and stupid and
Not
superstitious.
necessarily. No. I don't believe that. I believe straights are very scientific. I believe heteronormativity is the only way for mankind to exist in a prosperous fashion.
I know, but
Heteronormativity.
the more people accept science and less religion, the less homophobic they become.
Not necessarily. I'm very like Islam is a very scientific religion. I'm very
Uh,
scientific. Islam
please,
is super
science.
scientific.
Do you believe the Earth is flat?
Hell no, the Earth is round.
Okay.
What Muslim believes the Earth is flat? If you're a Muslim believes the Earth is flat, you're a heretic. You're a heretic. Where did the hellfire? You have to say, I'm not a Sunni or Shia. I'm Ibadi. So you have to get the fact that part in too.
I
We're
know.
a
Well, do
rationalistic
you
school.
believe that Muhammad flew to the moon on a horse?
On the moon on a horse? What do you mean the moon? You mean he flew to the paradise?
No, did he fly to the moon on a horse like some Muslims say?
I never heard that a day in my life.
You've never heard of
Where's
Muhammad
that found?
moon on
He
a
flew to the
horse?
moon.
Hold on, let me look it up. Let me look it up. Hold on. As the Quran has it, Prophet Muhammad took a night trip to the heaven aboard a trustworthy winged pony horse mulish creature called Barak. It is an episode that's inspired Islamic art ever since.
Yeah, I believe the nice journey. That's not to the moon.
Where did he go? He flew into the oh
He
it's
went to
okay to
paradise.
heaven. Okay,
That's
fine,
very
he went to
esoteric.
heaven.
That's a very
I mean,
esoteric
you're
thing.
you're
Uh,
smart enough to correct me and say it wasn't the moon, it was heaven. You're just trying
I'm
you're
not.
being
What you mean?
serious.
No, I'm not.
No, you're
I
being
never heard of the
serious.
moon thing. I said
You
to the
knew what
moon,
I was
and I said a
talking
nice
about.
journey.
You knew what I was talking about. You're being
No, no, I
obtuse.
didn't. No, I didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't know
I
what you're
said
talking
Muhammad.
about.
Okay, you should have just said no. He didn't fly to the moon. He flew to heaven. You knew what I was talking about.
No, I didn't know what you was talking about. I did not know. I did not know. I heard things. I heard new things every day. I heard people making
Well, then you're dumb.
people make up all
If
type of
you
stuff
knew
every
that,
day.
okay, so you knew Muhammad flew to heaven on a horse, and I said he flew to the moon on a horse, and you really couldn't put those two together and say you meant heaven, not
No,
moon.
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. No, not necessarily. I don't know what you're talking about.
So you
You said
believe
flying to the
Muhammad
moon. I'm
flew
like, when did you fly to the
horse?
moon?
You believe that Muhammad flew to heaven on a horse?
Of course he did, but it's very esoterically. Esoterically,
Yeah,
esoterically.
that's so scientific. That's so scientific.
Esoteric. We can't have esotericism in our religion. We can't have
Oh yeah, I
mysticism. We
know you're
can't have
stuck
our
scientifically.
metaphors and our
What about
esoteric.
the gin?
We have esoteric truths in Islam too.
What about the
Islam has
gin?
both an
What about those?
exoteric side
What about those
and an esoteric
genies?
side. It's
What
mystic.
about those genies
There's
that
nothing
are
wrong with
half?
having esotericism.
Okay, what about those genies? Are they scientific too? Those gins or whatever they're called?
There's esoteric about it. Esoteric
Oh,
things. These
so
are esoteric matters.
scientific. Yeah, I know Islam is so
No, but
scientific.
we have two sides. We have the esoteric and exoteric.
Yeah, what's so I know what you have some sprinkling of like little science in there, and you say you're a scientific religion.
We are a scientific religion. We're a
Every
completely
yeah,
scientific
I
religion.
know. Yes,
But
I
we
know.
have an
Religion,
esoteric side.
flying
We're a
horses,
scientific
really
religion with an
scientific,
esoteric side.
really serious
We're
about
spiritual. Look,
science.
Islam is the spirit. Okay, I'm gonna tell you what Islam is. Right? Is a spiritual science, or you could even call it the technology of the heart. Because is Islam, the United Islam is the technology of the heart.
This is idiocy. This is retarded. This is just nonsense. You know what? The more I talk to people like you, the more murderous I become because I've really started to realize that there's absolutely no way of reasoning with you because you're irrational and illogical and don't make sense and you're dishonest and you're just dangerous.
You say I'm dishonest.
To say
You,
to say that
how am I
something
dishonest? I'm having an honest conversation with you right now. What are you talking about?
I sat and started spewing quackery, and then I said that that I was a medicine, that I was, that I promoted medicine. That would be fucked up and stupid, and that's what you just did. You spew mysticism, and then you tell me Islam is scientific.
I said Islam has two sides. It has esoteric and exoteric side.
There are no two sides to science. There are
Okay.
no two
Being
sides to
okay.
science.
Having
There,
esotericism, having mysticism, does not stop you from being scientific. They're
okay,
not mutually
just
exclusive
because
things.
you make scientific statements doesn't mean your religion is scientific.
Our religion is completely scientific. I told you it has two sides. Okay,
Well,
science
the
and
other
religion
side's
are
not
not mutually
scientific.
exclusive.
The other side is
You have to
anti-scientific.
stop. You have to not put it in a box. They're not mutually exclusive things.
Yes, they
Science
are.
and religion are mutually exclusive things.
Okay, next topic because you're too dumb. I mean, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. That you can't explain your mysticism with science.
I don't have to, but it doesn't mean the religion
Oh
isn't
yeah, then
scientific.
don't tell
I
me
said
your
it's
religion
two
is
sides of the
scientific.
coin. The religion has both elements. You could
It's
have
not
a
wholly
mystical
scientific.
side and
It's
have
mixed.
a scientific
You,
side and still be
I know you mix
coherent and
that.
cohesive as one moral life
You
structure.
put poison in it. You've ruined it. You put poison in it and ruined it.
No
It's
poison. I put honey and cleanliness. I put tonic. Islam is a tonic religion. It's not toxic. It's tonic.
no, it's really
It's
toxic.
healing, invigorating. I put cleanliness. I put
Is
purity.
that
I
why
put
all your
beauty.
countries are like shambles unless you have oil and you're sucking off the West?
What you mean? We're not in shambles. Look at Oman. What you mean? The Abadi community is not in shambles. Look at all our communities. Look at Oman. Look at the Gardaya, the Mozambique Valley in Gardaya. Look at the Jerba. We don't need the West. We don't need anything. We have heretics. Our heretics are making us look bad, but the actual Muslims, the Ibadis, Allah Kama, we're living right. Yeah, and I'm sorry for the heretics that make us look bad. I get it, and I can see that, and I started off with that. Unfortunately, we have these terrible heresies called Sunnism and Shiism that's making the Islamic world look bad. But that's the heresy. That's not the core of what Islam really is. That those are we call them alubida, meaning the people of heretical innovations. Bida means heretical innovations. Alu means the people. So we have heretical innovators, and unfortunately, these people are making you look at Islam are not making you particularly. I'm saying this figure of speech are giving inaccurate, improper, and even ugly, hideous image of Islam to the world, and I totally renounce their propagations and I affirm the beauty of the reality of Islam.
Um, This reminds me of the cube when it's like, okay, so when I was in the cube the other day, and I also brings me back to my childhood. So when I was a child, I was raised Jehovah's Witness, and you know, they would come to me. Hold on one second. Hello. So when I was raised Jehovah's Witness, they would come in and they would have their doctrines and things like that, and they would explain these things to me. And it made no sense, and I couldn't understand what they were talking about, and they used to get mad at me, and then they would tell me that I was too logical and that my brain was getting in the way, and that's why I couldn't understand it. This is what they tell me in the cube, and this is what you're doing to me right now. I am not too stupid to understand what you're telling me. It just makes no sense.
I, I've never ever called you stupid. I never implied you were stupid. I never implied that you're too stupid to understand what I'm saying. I never implied any of these things. So what you basically unfortunately and and I take objection to this. I see you right now as projecting things upon me that I am free of. I'm not doing any of these things to you. I'm treating you. I'm being open and honest with you about my position, about how I feel about my religion and my faith that I accept and I affirm Islam. You can take it or leave it. I'm not telling you any stuff you just said that how you grew up with the Jehovah's Witness and what you said about the Q. That has nothing to do with me. I'm not the perpetrator of any of those things against you.
No, but you're doing the same. You're doing the same thing with me, where you're coming back to me with pseudo logic, and like I can't even discuss pseudo logic. Like when it's to tell me that, okay, so look, you told me Islam is a scientific religion, but obviously there's a non-scientific part to it, so it's not a fully scientific religion. No, it's not.
It is scientific. Just because it
Not
has
fully.
a mystical side does not mean it's not scientific. What I'm saying, these two things are not mutually exclusive. Science and
Yeah,
spirituality are not mutually exclusive.
yeah. I mean, well, do you believe in free will?
Put like this. I don't know the extent of free will. I don't know the extent of it. I don't know all the mechanics of it, right? I know that God controls everything ultimately. God is the master of everything ultimately. I can tell you that for a fact. I know that God is fully powerful. Now, do I know the nuances of free will and where God's power, where and because it will have to be by God's grace. Do I know the exact point in of how the deeper mechanics of how His grace works on this issue? I don't know necessarily per se, but I'm gonna tell you what I do know from Islam is that God creates everything and He has power over everything. We believe in qadar, predestination, both good and evil. God creates anything, and it's about understanding it, right? And I know that if God guides you, there's no one who could misguide you. And if God doesn't help you, if he doesn't favor you, there's no one who can favor you. There's no success without God, and without God, there's only failure. So I do believe in favor and lack thereof, which could be considered curse. But the deeper mechanics of free will, I can't explain to you like I know it. The deeper mechanics of it, but I do believe I do believe that God favors those who He wills
Okay, well, if you're
with
getting
right guidance.
anywhere, if you get anywhere near that, you're out of science. Like that doesn't make sense at all. Like if you get anywhere near free will. So if it gets anywhere near that, then that's nonsense. But
So what you no, no, yeah, but yeah, I told you I don't know about free will. I know God is determines everything. I said I don't know about free will. People say you have a choice at one point. I mean, I'm not big on free will. I don't know, but I don't. I mean, I tell you, I don't know about free will, but I'm gonna tell you that I know that God is all powerful. I'm not a big free will guy. I told you, I'm more about providence. I believe in predestination. Do I think that we make a choice? Yeah, but do I think the choices are are by God's design and God's power? Still, yes. I don't believe anything comes outside of God's power.
Oh my God, I really have to work harder to get rid of you people. This is horrible. This is really bad.
So you know what I'm saying? Because and that free see look that free will doctrine is something people made up in Islam to try to justify the Quran and stuff like that. But what we know for a fact is qadar. We know there's predestination. I told you, some issues in Islam are speculative. The relationship between qadar and your choices is a speculative issue that I cannot pinpoint to you for a fact. I can speculate all day, right? But the only thing I can pinpoint to you for a fact is that whatever the case may be, God is in control. I can tell you that for a fact without any reservation. That even right now that we're talking, God's in control of this conversation. If I go to hell or go to paradise, God's in control of that. I believe God is the decider. He's a judge. And if he favors you, if he has inscribed faith in your heart, and nothing that is no one could take that away. If God hasn't put in your heart faith, he put iman, he put a faith in your heart. There's no creature that could take what God himself has inscribed into the slave that he has chosen to favor. And if he doesn't do that to you, there's no one else who could help you. If he doesn't decide to help you, there's no one who could help you against his wrath. There's no success outside of his power. I can tell you that for a fact.
Okay, someone in the chat named Lambie who said that Islam is the future.
I could barely hear you now if you're talking. Can you go closer to the mic or something?
Okay.
I can barely hear you if you're talking.
Okay. This guy in the chat named Lambie who said Islam is the future said, to those who don't believe in free will, what's the point in making an argument? So, actually, let's look up free will in Islam. Hold on, I want to look it up. Hold on. Okay, what's hold on. Okay. Have you heard of Yaqeen Institute for Islamic Research? Ever hear of that?
You said Yaqeen Institute. Yaqeen?
Yaqeen Institute. Have you ever heard of them?
No, I never heard of them. I know what Yaqeen is, but I never heard of that society. I told you, I'm Ibadi. You have to look at Ibadi sources. I mean, I have a server for it, and I'll send you when we get off. I'll send you sources on Telegram. And if you want to have a free will conversation, we could tap it. We could schedule a time. We could pinpoint the issue of free will. I'd love to do this. I'd love to take an examination of free will.
Well, from what I'm just looking through this, it says it's a claim of both. I'm looking through these blurbs, and while I guess it says that God is in the control of the ultimate destiny, but in between you have free will to make choices. But it seems it's a mix. You know, Islam is not fatalism.
It can be though. What I'm trying to say is that this issue is a speculative issue. It's because in the Quran it talks about choices you made, right? But it also says God is powerful. But we know God is powerful. You know what I'm saying? Like me, I'm a determinist. I'm a fatalist in a way. But I'm not saying like I know for a fact. I told you this is a speculative issue. You know what I'm saying? I lean on the deterministic side, me personally. But I can't tell you that I know the exact point in where determinism, because look, there's no point in God's power where God's power ends. He's all powerful. Now, how his grace works in terms of choices and how you do it, I don't know, right? I lean on determinism. I personally do. But I'm not telling you that I know for a fact the entirety of the conversation about this issue. I lean on fatalism, me personally. And the evidence shows fatalism to be the better choice, right? But I'm not saying that it's a matter of certainty that I know the exactitude of this issue. That's all I'm trying to say. I personally do lean on fatalism.
Okay, well, if it's true that the Quran can be interpreted with free will, then it's not scientific.
Well, they don't interpret it. If that's how you want to interpret it as being totally fatalistic and deterministic. I have no problem with you interpreting it as deterministic. I personally do it too.
It does seem like mainstream Islamic thought that there's some degree of free will in Islam.
It can be, but that's Sunni thought. You're not looking at Ibadi thought too. You have to look at Ibadi sources. For us, this is what our scholars say. Okay, wait. Let me tell you what we say. Can you still hear me?
I can, but Do you know, is JB Vance in the chat the real John Vance, or is it
I don't
another John
know
Vance?
if he's hey, Jay, are you the real John Vance? I
All
hope he is,
right.
because John Vance is my guy. He's
Okay, well, he seems to really believe in free will. He said free will leads to mercy to the heart. Okay, well, he seems to be a Muslim who believes in free will. Hello? Hmm. I can't hear you. Where'd you go? Mr. Pelu disappeared. Okay, well, we have to get. Okay, so Mr. This is, again, is another thing. So now, how perfect is the Quran if there's a divide over whether it allows free will or not? So, okay, there's a crack in this Quranic logic. Is there free will or not in Islam? Obviously, Muslims can't agree. So the Quran can't be very straightforward. These things are never written straightforward so that you can just make it whatever you want it to be, and it can be whatever it wants to be to whoever's interpreting it to make everyone happy, as long as they're a hateful bastard, because that's all they need in common. All the serious stuff. Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. But I was just, while you were gone, I was saying that if the Quran is so perfect, then why can't people come to a single interpretation on whether there's free will or not? Why is everyone confused?
It is not confusing. I told you we have a lot of heresies. I told you the original reason. We have
Okay,
a lot
but
of
which way?
heresies.
I know, but it seems like all of across the board, people, you're not, it seems across the board that Muslims either do or do not believe in free will. There must be something confusing in the Quran.
No, it's life. Look, 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 look. Do we know the entirety of God?
If you're making an in for any kind of free will, then your religion is not scientific. And at least we could say this: Muslims who believe in free will are not scientific. So let's get them off the board. If you have any sympathy for that, I don't want to hear about Islam being scientific.
Listen, I don't know for a fact, right? Right? I go with. I'm not arrogant enough to do that. Like you understand? You know what I'm saying? This is a speculative issue to me. I am a determinist. I don't believe in free will at all, right? But I do, but I'm not saying that I know for a fact that you're outside of Islam if you have some level of free will in your thinking. I know that it has choices, right? People make choices. You make choices all the time. Now, do I think God is in power over everything? Yes. I don't believe in free will. I don't, and I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I don't know for absolute certainty outside of speculation. I speculate that is this favor and curse, and even our scholars always say that. But it is one of the things where I'm not absolutely certain about this issue, so I'm not going to act like there's no room for speculating. I mean, I don't see why there can't be room for speculation on this.
There can be room for speculation if you don't care if your religion is scientific or not.
But Islam is scientific regardless because it's the truth, and truth is scientific.
Because there's speculation on free will. That's why it's scientific, right?
What's wrong with speculating on free will? Like, what's wrong
Because
with
free will,
speculating on that?
there's free will is just like Santa Claus. It's just absurd.
How is it so absurd that you can't speculate on it? I don't believe in free will, right? But how is it so absurd you can't speculate on it? Why is it so absurd? Tell me.
It would break the laws of the universe. It would be magic. It would be just utter, absolute, out of nowhere. Like your consciousness just breaks the causal chain, and something is inserting a change in the physical universe in order for you not to be the slave of the biochemicals that are in your brain. You're saying that you're not a slave to the physics of your brain. Then what's interrupting the physics of your brain?
I'm saying I'm a slave to God. No, I'm not a slave to the physical brain. I'm a slave to God.
No, okay. If you believe that there's free will, that means you believe that that you, not necessarily God, you made the change. You broke the physical chain and made your own choice in your brain outside of biochemical predestination or whatever
I
it's
don't
called.
necessarily believe in biological biochemical predestination. I believe in divine predestination. I don't believe predestination is totally subjected to biochemical processes. No, I don't believe in
Well,
biochemical
then it's not
predestination.
scientific. If well, there is biochemical predestination, so we know
How you
that
know?
for a
So it's
fact.
factual. You're biologically predetermined. I don't get how this biological biochemical predetermination. I don't get that thing. I don't see how that's an absolute fact, undisputable fact that you're biologically predetermined for everything. I don't see how that's an absolute fact. I don't see it. If you
Look,
if you
you can't even think without biochemical processes inside your brain that you're not in control of.
okay, but it still doesn't make that's not still an all encompassing formula to understand all of reality.
Okay, you're going outside of science to understand reality. That's not scientific.
It's not your notion of science, but because what you're calling science might not be scientific.
Oh
You're saying things like
wow.
okay, you're saying things like, for example, what's okay? If I talk to who's the great what scientist I talking about? If I talk to the greatest scientist in the world in this topic, he gonna tell me it's absolute fact that everything is biologically predetermined in people. Like he's not even gonna say that. What are you talking about?
Yeah, they'll tell you that your consciousness is determined by chemical processes that you're not in control of.
Okay, but it still doesn't. It's still other factors in your consciousness besides the biological processes.
No,
So you're
there's
saying the
not.
biological processes are the only factors in your consciousness. There's no other factors besides chemistry. The chemistry is the only factor in your consciousness is chemistry. There's
Chemistry in
no
the environment. It's all physical.
there's
It's
no
all
divine there's
physical.
no divine spark. There's no
No,
divine
no,
spark
that's not
in
science.
humanity.
That's not science.
That's
No.
fine. I believe there's a divine spark in humanity. I believe we have a
Okay,
divine
so don't
spark.
say Islam is science. Don't say
It
Islam is
is
science.
science. The science hasn't got to the point to be able to
Oh,
scientifically
please.
prove the divine spark, but it's scientifically true. But we just haven't got to the point yet that we can prove the divine spark.
Oh
That's
my
it.
God.
But eventually, as science improves, we'll be able to prove the divine spark in humanity. That's my position. Yes, we're more than just animals. Humans are more than just animals. We do have a divine spark and a divine soul. So I disagree with that. I believe we're divinely predestined. I believe in providence, but I don't believe our predestination is limited totally to biological, to biochemical processes. No, I don't believe.
Okay, then that's
I
not
believe humans are
science.
greater than I believe humans are greater than biochemical processes, and
That's
I
not
believe
science.
science hasn't got to the point yet to discover the divine spark in
It
humanity
never will.
scientifically.
It
That's
never
all.
will. It
We
never
haven't got there
will.
yet, but we'll get there soon.
Side
We're
note, it
gonna
never
get there. We're
will.
gonna get there. We're gonna
Nope.
be able to
We'll
scientifically
never
prove the
prove.
divine
Nope.
spark in humanity eventually.
Nope.
Okay, well,
Mm-mm.
this time I have to tell that. That's for time to tell.
Very dangerous. This is like I mean, my problem is here's my problem. I'm a hard liberal. I believe in imposing liberalism. Like I believe in going to the Middle East and Muslim country and imposing gay rights. I'm not a soft liberal where I say, well, even in my own liberal countries, I'm going to tolerate everything. And if you're a Muslim who's going to come in here and agitate to change laws that allow homosexuals to get married and to revert it back into a strictly heterosexual culture, I'm not going to allow that. I'm not going to say, in the name of freedom of religion, of course you can spread that. No, I'm a hard liberal. Like, you make liberalism happen and you keep it there and you don't let conservatives in. And um, that's the way I see it. My only problem is that I'm very alone in that because most liberals are soft liberals. They don't want to impose gay rights in Islam. They want Muslims to be what they want to be. And they want Muslims to come over here and preach their doctrines here. But I mean, obviously, I'm very depressed. I hope that people will become militant. I mean, the way you're talking and the way you think absolutely horrifies me. And there's absolutely no way that we can exist on the same planet because you're trying to influence society, and even a grain of your influence in my life is too much for me to tolerate.
Well, I understand where you're coming from. I told you, you've made it clear, and I've made it clear to the best of my analyzing it that we're going to be in a state of perpetual conflict with each other. As long as you've been maintaining your positions, you maintain it. And of course, my position is my religion. And as long as I maintain my religion, because my positions are absolutely in correlation to my religious faith and my religious beliefs and the principles I stand for. As long as we have our positions up right now, we're going to exist in a state of perpetual opposition until something changes between both of us. And I'm totally comfortable with that. I'm totally comfortable with being in a state of even if not physical warfare, in a state for lack of a better word, I know you don't believe in it, in a state of spiritual warfare against you. And I'm totally here to be engaged in the spiritual warfare against you and to demolish you spiritually and to destroy you spiritually, not physically, because I'm looking for your healing. I'm looking for your healing of you. You're
That's
human.
dumb.
You're a human.
That's
You're part of my same family. We're part of one soul, nafsin wahida, and you're a human being. And I affirm the sanctity of humanity. I affirm the sanctity of your life, and I affirm sanctity of humanity.
that's dumb.
And my only hope in this jihad against you is your reformation.
Hold on. Mm, okay. Um, Not like viciously attacking your enemy. Look, I would viciously attack you intellectually first before I attack you physically because I do I would rather grow my cult by convincing people to come over and actually abandon and then become enemies of, let's say, Islam. I would do that first in order to get as many people over to my side as I could. But once I did that, once that phase was over, I mean, I would just go in and obliterate. I don't have any kind of I don't care about your souls or anything like that. And I think it's stupid to allow an enemy who seems like will be a permanent enemy to live. Doesn't really, that's dumb.
I understand you, and so I totally understand you. That's the reason why we have, like, for example, we have laws against homosexuality. That when homosexuality was a capital offense for that particular reason too. That's why, for your same reason why you want to kill me because I want to rest on my position forever. And I totally understand that, right? I'm not against that, right? The same way I'm not against killing homosexuals if due process has been established in a Sharia environment. If we establish Sharia nation and we put you on notice and we have due process said you have to reform from homosexual behavior, and we catch you committing homosexual acts, if we execute you after due process has been established, I have no problem with that for the same reason you're talking about. So I told you, yes, we're going to be in a state of opposition. I mean, I still care for you as a human being, and I affirm the sanctity of your life. I affirm the sanctity of life, but we are in a state of spiritual warfare. We are,
How could you affirm
it's
the
going to
sanct-
cross. It's going to cross into the physical realm, and if it crosses into the physical realm, I accept it. Right? You know what I'm saying? I love your humanity. I love your humanity, Vince. But if our spiritual war crosses the physical plane and it causes a demise, that's life.
Look, you can't tell me that you affirm my sanctity to life and then tell me in a Sharia state I would be executed for homosexuality.
Yes, I can, because it's to call you to reform. I'm calling you to reform.
You just said you affirm my sanctity of life, but say that if under ideal conditions with Islam I would be executed. That's not my sanctity of life. I don't have sanctity of
Yes, because
life.
we're giving you notice. We're giving you long notice. It's due process.
Okay. I'm going to do the same to you then. And I'm going to tell you I affirm the sanctity of your life, but since you're a monotheist, I'm going to have you decapitated.
That's fine. I told you we're in a state of war, and I totally accept the condition. I totally accept the fact that we're in a state of holy jihad against each other.
Can't you
I'm
see?
in a state of
Can't
holy.
you?
Well, I call it holy jihad. I know you call it something else, right? In my nomenclature, I say holy jihad. I know for you it's something else, but we're in a state of cosmic conflict. I understand that.
This is very like, the Jews and the Muslims come from the same inverted, perverted logic that, you're sneaky and that you're trying to tell someone I uphold your right to life, but I will take it away because if you don't
No, I
follow
said I
my
affirm the
rules,
sanctity of your life. I affirm the sanctity of your life because you're a human. I
I
affirm your
never you would
humanity.
take it away from me. You would take it away from me.
If need be, unfortunately, it's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy.
Okay, so then
It's a tragedy.
don't tell me you uphold the sanctity of my life if you would take it from me.
Life is full of tragedy.
Okay, I take the hard polytheist white man's way, and I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm going to tell you I don't uphold the sanctity of your life. I don't because I would take it
That's
away.
fine. I mean,
Okay, well I'm not lying. You're a
it's a
liar.
tragedy. It's a
You're a
tragedy.
liar. You're a
I'm
liar.
not a liar. I'm sitting here having an honest conversation with you. Well, as one thing, you can't call me a liar. It's not fair, Vincent. I came.
Well, I
You
would
asked me
never
to come
tell
and
you.
write, and I've come
I
to your
would
piece.
never.
Actually, Vincent, we go back, Vincent. As a matter of fact, I started on YouTube because of Claire. One of the first things I seen with Claire is when she was arguing with you. One of the first. I don't know if it was exactly the first, but in the first couple times when I seen Claire, she was actually arguing with you. You're one of the people that actually got me, and Claire's the one who got me to come on YouTube originally. So really, Vincent, I go back with you. You know what I'm saying? I wish nothing bad for you. But you can't tell me I'm here being a liar to you when I come and I'm opening up to you. I'm being honest about my religion to you. You can't call me a liar if I'm opening up and being honest with you about my religion.
Excuse me. I would never tell you I uphold the sanctity of your life and then say I would kill you. That would be a lie. So how are you not
I mean,
lying?
I would. Okay. For example, I hold the sanctity of life, right? Okay, but if somebody's a murderer, okay, for example, right? If you're a murderer, if I come, if I hold the sanctity of life, generally speaking, as a rule of humanity, right? I hold the sanctity of everybody's life. But if somebody becomes a murderer and they kill somebody, if you live, okay, if you live in a state that has a death penalty, they still kill you. Even if they hold the sanctity of life, but could they say because you committed a crime? And under their due process, they found you guilty and they gave you due process. They gave you due process of law, and now they have a law to execute you because you committed a crime against society, against humanity. They say against the state. That's why when you go to court, right? You say you versus the state of Maryland, or it'll be Vincent Vooner versus the state of Texas, or wherever state you're from, right? So in the same way, you'll be committing a crime against the Islamic State. But I told you, this is under due process. Under due process to establish Islamic State, you'll be committing a crime against the Islamic State to engage in your homosexual behaviors, and our penalty for that is a death penalty. The same way you're committing a crime against even in the American state. If you murder somebody, if you have a death penalty state, they're still going to execute you. Even if they're from the sanctity of life, they're still going to execute you because you committed a crime against that state that they in their books have called for capital punishment. Our books have called for your capital punishment for engaging in homosexual activities. And if we have established due process and we made it clear that this is what we're establishing, this is what we're doing, we put you on notice. If once we establish the state and we put you on notice about it, if we catch you with it, yes, it's law and justice. We kill you. It says haram Allah bil haq. The Quran says that don't take life, which God has made sacred, except for what? Righteousness, except for haq, except for reality. So I can only take your life under righteous conditions of due process of you transgressing the Islamic law. So it's not an oxymoron. The same way it's not an oxymoron to affirm the sanctity of life. If I'm living in Texas and have death penalty and a murder gets killed, it is the same way in Islam is still not a contradiction to affirm the sanctity of life and still say that capital offenses should be honored and executed.
Look, okay, fine. I'm going to do this the gay way. I'm going to be honest with people. I'm going to say you don't have sanctity of life because if you break the law, you're decapitated or whatever it is that's going to happen to you. I'm just not doing the way you're doing it is just the straight way to lie. That like, lie. No, I don't believe in sanctity of life because I would take it away from you under certain circumstances. So obviously I don't believe in that.
That's your perception. That's your perception. I
No,
think there's
that's
no contradiction.
reality.
I think there's no contradiction with affirming the sanctity of life and also affirming capital punishments. I think I don't see any contradiction in that. If that's your position, that's fine. That's you.
Okay, so you see
I
no
don't
you
see.
see You see no contradiction in my statement that I uphold the sanctity of your life, but I would decapitate you for being a monotheist.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. I mean, do I think you're dead or wrong? Yes, but I don't think there's a contradiction. I believe you're wrong. I believe you're dead wrong. But you're not necessarily contradicting yourself. You're just wrong. And you can believe I'm wrong. I get it. You believe my religion is wrong. I get it. I'm just telling you that I'm not contradicting myself. I'm not being dishonest with you. I'm not lying to you. I'm not being disingenuous with you. Even if you think I'm wrong. I'm not saying you agree with me. I'm not saying don't say I'm right. Say I'm wrong. I'm not telling you to not affirm that I'm wrong according to your analysis, right? But it's one thing to say I'm being dishonest with you, and one thing I'm being disingenuous with you. I'm not being dishonest with you. I'm not being disingenuous with you. I'm not saying you have to agree with me, but don't accuse me of dishonesty to you when I've come in openness and plain dealings with you. I've been my dealings with you right now in this conversation have been nothing but plain dealings with you. I've been transparent and dealt with you plainly, and I don't think it's fair to accuse me of dishonesty at this juncture. Just you might accuse me of
Well, look,
brutality, accuse me of everything else, but don't accuse me of dishonesty.
The heart of heterosexuality is dishonesty. All heterosexuals are deeply dishonest people and pseudological people. And I don't know. I'm getting to the point. I don't know if you're aware that you're lying or if you are just so dumb you can't understand that you're lying. I mean, at this point, I'm starting to think you're so dumb you can't understand you're lying. And but now I don't want to believe that because I want to believe you're evil because I want to attack you. So I mean, yeah, I'm going to actually believe that you're purposely being deceptive. I can't tell the difference; it's one or the others. But I'm so full of hate, like it helps my cause to believe that you're doing this purposely.
Well, that's you. You're full of hate. I'm full of nothing but love and kindness. So I'm sorry that you're full of hate. I'm praying for your healing. I'm full of love and kindness by the grace of God. Of course, by the grace of God. By the grace of God, He's filled my heart with love and kindness, and I appreciate Him every day for it. I am blessed.
You don't love someone who you would decapitate. That's not love.
I'm telling you way advance of time. I'm telling you advance. I'm giving you far ahead notice. Say, please, Vincent, stop before you get decapitated. I'm pleading with you to stop before you get decapitated.
I'm not going to say that I would kill you for being monotheist and that I love you. I'm just not going to say that because that would be a lie. That would just be absurd. I love you and I'm going to kill you. Like, who kills someone that they love?
Man, because if somebody does something wrong, okay, let's say I'm a judge, right? But my son is a mass murderer and rapist. I wouldn't want to kill him, but I might have to. If my son, if I'm in charge of a community, I'm in charge of this country, right? For some reason, right? I've been put in charge of establishing justice in this community, right? In the state, right? And it comes to me that my son is a mass murderer and killer and a menace to society. We can't let him out free. He's killing and raping everybody. If I make a decision that press the button or whatever the case may be, sign the order, executive order, or whatever the case may be, to have my son killed.
Okay, but
I might love him to this death, but I might have to do what I got to do because guess what? I love God more. I love you as a human being. I love your life as a human being. I affirm the sanctity of your life as a human being. But God is better than you and superior to you. And God's law still trumps us. Matter of fact, we're only sanctified as human beings because of God. We're not sanctified in our own right. It's God Himself who's put the sanctity of our lives in us. It's not us.
Okay, I'm not so disgusting as you. I would have you put to death for being monotheist, but I'm not going to bring up murder. I'm not going to equate that to murder. I'm not going to say, well, I would kill a murderer. Monotheism is not murder. Monotheism is not murder. I'm not going to sit around and pretend that it is. And I'm not killing you because I hate your ideas and they're evil and you're evil for holding them. You're an evil person. Only evil people are monotheists.
I totally disagree with you. I believe I'm full of love and kindness. I know for a fact, by God's grace, He has filled my heart with love and kindness.
Don't equate my homosexuality to murder and say you need to put me to death for it. I'm not equating your monotheism.
It is. It's a capital offense. It's on the same level.
But I'm not
equating.
On the same level. I'm not equating your monotheism to murder.
Well, your homosexuality is on the same level as a capital offense.
Uh,
Islamically speaking, they're both capital offenses.
okay,
Is
well
that
that's
much of an
really
offense?
okay. Well, I'm not as dishonest and disgusting to do that in reverse to you. I'm not going to equate monotheism to murder and use that as a justification to kill you. I mean, monotheism is different than murder. It's a different kind of crime. But I'm not going. I have a different reason for putting you to death for monotheism, other than homosexuality doesn't harm anyone. It doesn't like hurt anybody. So, there's really big different things. Actually, monotheism hurts people more than homosexuality does, and I could actually make a stronger case for murder being closer to monotheism than homosexuality. But even then, I'm not that dishonest and gross that I would be like, well, I put you to death for murder, so therefore I put you to death for monotheism. Like, that's just a fucked up, stupid argument, heterosexual argument.
Well, I I put on the same level homosexuality and murder. They're both capital offenses, so you're on the same level, and I don't see nothing wrong with that. I
Yeah,
think
because
homosexuality hurts everybody. It hurts the people. It creates hateful people. It hurts society. It hurts families. It destroys generations. It destroys cultures. It destroys nations. It destroys humanity. It's the death of humanity. So yes, do
well,
I think it's on the
okay,
same level of murder? Absolutely. They're both capital offenses.
yes. Well, I mean, very beastly intelligence, low intelligence creatures, unable to differentiate between activities that don't harm anyone and murder, and equating those two. I mean, how would you feel it if I told you, say, if I said, well, I put a rapist to death, so I would put a monotheist to death because those two things are equivalent?
It is absurd. But the same way you look at me as absurd, I look at you as absurd too.
No, but I
So
would never
it's not,
say that. I would never come to you and say, well, since I put rapists to death, I'll put monotheists to death. That's just like a dumb statement to make.
but since I put rapists to death, I put homosexuals to death for the same thing. To you is dumb, but to me it's normal. I mean, to me, my stance on putting gays on the same level of people as capital offense is the same. Is the same thing as murder. I mean,
Mm.
okay, I get it. You don't agree with my value judgments. You don't agree with my axiology. I get it. You don't agree with it. Oh well, I'm telling. But you can't. But my issue is I'm not telling you to agree with my axiology, right? Axiology means classification of values, or how I put values and how I rate things, right? And how I rate homosexuality is equivalent to murder because they're both capital offenses, right? That axiology, I'm not telling you to agree with me, right? But I'm trying to say you cannot say I'm lying to you and being dishonest. That's my only issue. I'm being totally open about this issue. You can't. I don't know how I'm lying to you, be honest. You might. I'm not telling you to agree with me. I get it. You don't agree with my value judgments. I totally get it. But you can't say I'm being dishonest.
No, you're equating apples and oranges. I would never take a violent crime and then say, well, since I punish violent crimes, I'm going to punish you for being a heterosexual, which is not a violent crime. It's just, it's nothing.
It's a
That's what the
violation against humanity. Faggotry is a violation against humanity.
Hold on, wait. Okay, I'm gonna be putting up a banner for people to see. It's my blog on this, uh, gaymilitant.blogspot.com, which I'm about to post. Gaymilitant.blogspot.com. Okay. Um, um, yes. Well, I guess I'm trying just to create a system to just totally. You're just making my case of what heterosexuals are, like just low intelligence, stupid, backward, incoherent, vapid, and dumb. And it just basically needs to be gotten rid of. And and but I'm just not going to be as messed up. I'm going to be more straightforward about it as a gay man. I'm not going to be as like deceptive as straight people are, and I'm not going to be as gaslighting as straight people are. I'm not going to go in and tell straight people I love them and that I'm there to kill them. That's not what I'm going to tell straight people. Like, I just don't even have that in me to be that conniving. Gay people are more honest. Gay people are more open, real, realistic. They use language properly. They use grammar properly. They can evaluate value judgments. They would see there's a difference between rape and heterosexuality. And I think a homosexual would get very offended if I came and I said, well, I punish rape, so then I'm going to therefore punish heterosexuality, because those are two very different kinds of crimes, even though I believe heterosexuality is a crime. But I mean, I I I have reasons to think this to dislike homosexuality, but equating it to rape is just nothing that would ever cross a gay person's mind. That's just so absurd, to even think like that.
Hey, well, call it absurd. I mean, I totally disagree with you, and that's fine. I get it. We disagree. My value judgment is different than yours. To me, it's totally not absurd. But that's your value judgment. I think your value judgment is incorrect. I think the straight value judgment is correct. I think the monotheistic value judgment is correct. I think the Islamic value judgment is correct. So I mean, we have different value judgments, and I totally acknowledge that. But the only thing is that you can't tell me I'm being dishonest. You could say you don't agree with me, but I'm being totally honest. I'm being totally forthright with you. There's nothing
Well, then,
conniving, deceptive about me.
heterosexuals are just irrational beasts, and that like can never be. I mean, if you're not evil, you're still dangerous. I mean, you're like, okay, like animals might not, a wild animal is not evil, but it's dangerous and you can't let it near you. And I mean, if it's taking over your territory, you have to kill it. I mean, like, you know, yeah, maybe you're not evil, but you're programmed dangerously. And, that's bad enough. I mean, it's really scary dealing with
I get
you.
it. I get it. I get it. And we look at you as a homosexual the same way. That's why we have laws that penalize homosexual activities to the point of death. We look at you the same way. I totally understand that. I know we disagree, but you can't say I'm being dishonest. And now you see now when you're speaking in good faith with me, you're not transplanting or projecting hate on me because by your admission you say because you told me that you're full of hate. Now we can have now you see we could be honest with each other. You see, and I was always being honest with you. Yes. So the honest answer is I understand where you're coming from. I look at you the same way. We're mirrors of each other. We're mirrors. I'm one way. I'm the opposite. We're opposites, but we reflect each other. I get it. We look at homosexuality the same, especially male homosexuality, which is called sodomy. We look at sodomites the same way.
Well, I still, even if even if you're not doing this intentionally, I still hate it. I mean, I hate I hate people I hate people who are so stupid that they make the world a bad place. I mean, I have to hate them in order to get rid of them. I
Me
can't
too.
ha-
I I, I tell you I affirm the sanctity of life, but I hate you as a sodomite. I hate you as for lack of a better word, faggot. I hate you as that, even though I affirm the sanctity of your life. So in the same way, and it's in the same way you look at us as dangerous and stupid. I look at you as dangerous and stupid. I think you as foolish for adopting faggotry as a lifestyle and adopting the faggot behaviors and the faggot activities. You know what I'm saying? I hate that of you, but I hate that of you because I want you to leave that. I hate that of you because I love you as a human. I love your humanity, so I hate your destruction of your own humanity. I hate
well,
you.
I
I
mean,
hate the fact that you're putting yourself to an animal.
the only thing that I would do is I would chastise someone and revile someone intellectually and give them the knowledge to leave what they're doing. But as soon as they fought back with me and I saw their mind and I saw the way that they thought, and even though I gave them this information, they weren't going to change. No, then I would just hate them. I would just I would just hate them and get rid of them. I would have no compassion or love for them now.
Yeah, it's mutual. The hatred is mutual,
Okay, so then
and
don't
and,
don't
and, and
don't
the
talk
hatred is
about me
mutual because I
being full
wanted
of
to
hate.
stop.
Don't talk to me like I'm the one that's full of hate when you're still full of hate.
No,
I
you told me you're full of hate. That's what you said.
I
You
admit,
told
I
me
admit it, and so are you, but I admit it.
I'm not full of hate. I'm full of loving kindness. You admitted that.
Oh
I'm not
please,
projecting upon you. This is what you told me. So this is not a
no, you're
projection.
not full of loving. I never said you were full of loving kindness. That's
No, no,
bullshit.
no, no, no. I said I'm full of loving kindness. I said you said you're full of hate. What I'm saying is that I'm not projecting upon you. I'm going off what you told me about yourself.
I know, but so are you full of hate, but I don't lie.
I'm not full of hate. I'm full of loving kindness. I totally
Yeah,
refuse
right.
your projecting hatred on me. I'm not full of hate. I am full of loving kindness, and I totally disagree with your assessment of me. I totally disagree with your assessment of me being full of hate. I assess myself as being, as by the grace of God Almighty, being full of loving kindness.
Oh my God. Well, I mean, as annoying as these conversations are, they do motivate me to become more vicious and to just work harder and become more radical and just more outspoken about what needs to be done. And I just think that it's like unbelievable. I think that it's unbelievable that these creatures walk the earth and live amongst us. And, it's just a contagion. It's a plague. They're like biologically programmed to be evil, like, without even recognizing it. And Mr. Pelu is saying that he doesn't even notice his inconsistency and he just thinks that everything he's saying is congruent and makes sense. And, I mean, that's even scarier. You're not even lying. You're just like this illogical robot that spews just nonsense, like just like, and I can't tell you how heterosexual that is. A homosexual would never equate heterosexuality to rape or murder. We're just that's so like far out there. Only a heterosexual would do that. I just to equate those two things is really absurd.
Have your opinion. I totally disagree with you, and I understand that we're being in disagreement about this. I'm totally willing to agree to disagree. That with that's the condition that we're going to be in. We're in a condition of opposition to each other, and we're in a condition of spiritual warfare. Hopefully, it doesn't get to kinetic warfare. Hopefully, our warfare hopefully it can bring light and healing to any errors
Oh
we might
well,
have.
the only no my plan. The only reason that I'm not engaging in physical warfare is because I'm not prepared for that. I mean, I mean, I'm a single man by myself. I can't go out and start warring against Muslims. I'll get destroyed. I mean, obviously, I have to be more cunning than that. So, the Jewish adage is with the Noahide, it says if you can enforce them through force, do it. But if you can't, do it through pleasantry and kindness. So, I'm not going to do it through pleasantry and kindness. I can tell you that much. But I mean, I can try to intellectually destroy Islam while building an army, against you. I can do that. I'm not prepared. But yes, once the army is built and once, you know, it becomes possible to get rid of you by force, then yes, I would.
Same way with us. I do dawah right now. I reach out to you with pleasantry and kindness, with loving kindness, with akhlaq. We call it akhlaq, with morality, with a good adab, with manners and everything like that. But once we have the military and once we have established our jurisdiction, we're gonna put you on notice that if we catch you, we will sentence you. We'll give you a capital sentence. We'll give you a sentence that will sentence you to capital punishment. Yeah. So the sentiment is shared on the opposite side with me, and I totally understand that. It's totally understandable. I share the same views on the opposite end.
Okay, well, I have to go. My battery's dying, and I'm gonna go to bed. But this was an interesting conversation, very eye-opening. And to be honest, I needed the reminder. I needed the reminder because I have been away from Islam for a long while, and I've moved out of the cities, and I don't see a lot of Muslims. And I just, To be honest, not many Muslims are interested in interacting with me. I think that you're unusual. I think that most religious people, like religious Jews, even though I criticize them all day, they never come on my channel. They never come on my comment section. They never say anything to me. And even when I was very anti-Muslim and I was posting nothing else, Muslims never came and talked to me because They see that I'm too hard. They see that I don't have any soft, weak spots to me. I'm not there's nothing that they're going to get over on me. And so they don't even try.
Yeah, I mean, look, I don't want you to be soft. I want you to be strong. I want you to be a strong man, and I want you to heal. I want you to be a healed, strong, straight man by the grace of God, and I want the best for you.
Well, I can't say the same. I mean, I don't even want you to revert because, well, that's another. Anyway, I do have to go.
Okay, and make sure you send me the link to this to this stream, not the stream yard, but send me the YouTube link, okay, to your channel. I'm not even subscribed to your channel. Just so send me the link to this
Okay.
to this show right now that we have live. 'Cause I don't even have the link. I don't even know what your channel is. I mean, we just reconnected on Telegram, but I don't even have the link to your channel. So send me the link to your channel. So I can have a record of this. But and it was nice talking to you. I appreciate you having me, and I'll definitely come on again whenever we arrange something for me to come on. I'm happy to talk to you. I'm totally open to talk about these things, and to be honest, and to have an open and honest conversation, and I hope that, and even no matter how much you disagree with me, I hope you could at least respect and accept and appreciate my my openness and my openness and honesty, even though you might not agree. My openness and honesty in dealing with you, and coming at you, even how much we very vehemently disagree. I came to you as a human being. And I hope you could accept my honest humanity, even if you did to vehemently disagree with it. I hope you could at least accept that part. And as long as you could accept that, I'm totally fine with you. Thank you very
Well,
much
I
for
have
having
to
me.
think. Okay, I'll talk to you soon. All right,
Bye.
bye.
Send me the link. All right, thank you. Bye.